Charles Darwin, the man behind the theory of evolution, his life, work, and impact on science and ethics. Imagine a man who changed how we see life itself. He didn't just study animals. He studied how they change over time. This man was Charles Darwin. His ideas made people question old beliefs and opened new doors in science. But before he became famous, Darwin was just a curious boy who loved nature. In this video, we'll explore his early life, the evidence he used to build his theory, and how his work affected science, ethics, and society. We'll also look at both the good and bad impacts of his theories. Here's why this story matters. A. Everyone should understand evolution. Darwin's ideas are still used today in medicine, biology, and education. B. Positive and negative effects. Some people say his work helped science grow. Others say it led to bad ideas like racism. C. A lesson for today. Understanding Darwin helps us see how ideas can change the world, for better or worse. This is not just a history lesson. It's a story about how one man's ideas shaped our views on life, nature, and what it means to be human. Whether you agree or disagree, you'll find this story interesting. Charles Darwin was born in 1809 in England. From a young age, he loved nature. He spent hours collecting insects and studying plants. His father was a doctor, and his mother died when he was only 8 years old. Darwin went to school and later studied medicine at the University of Edinburgh. But he found it boring. Instead, he preferred to study natural history. He even collected beetles and wrote about them in his free time. Later, he studied theology at Cambridge University, but he never really believed in religion. At Cambridge, Darwin met scientists who were interested in nature. One of them, Professor John Henslow, helped Darwin get a job as a naturalist on a ship called the HMS Beagle. This would change Darwin's life forever. From 1831 to 1836, Darwin traveled with the HMS Beagle. He visited South America, the Galapagos Islands, and other places. During this time, he collected many animal and plant samples. He also kept detailed notes about what he saw. One of the most important discoveries came in the Galapagos Islands. Darwin noticed that finches, small birds, had different beak shapes depending on what they ate. For example, some had long beaks for eating insects, while others had short beaks for cracking seeds. This made him wonder, why are these birds so different? Darwin collected many fossils and specimens during his travels. These gave him clues about how animals changed over time. After returning to England, he began to write about his ideas. But it took him many years to finish his book. What is evolution? Evolution is the idea that species change over time. Darwin said that animals with traits that help them survive have more babies. Over many generations, these helpful traits become common in the population. This is called natural selection. Darwin wrote a book called On the Origin of Species in 1859. In it, he explained that the strongest or best adapted animals survive. He did not mean strongest in a physical way. He meant animals that are best suited to their environment. For example, a bird with a long beak may be better at eating certain seeds. That bird survives and has more babies. Over time, the whole group of birds may have longer beaks. Darwin used many examples to support his ideas. He studied fossils and found that some animals looked like modern ones, but were different. He also studied how animals adapt to their environments. All of this helped him build his theory. Positive impacts of Darwin's ideas. Better understanding of nature. Darwin's theory helped scientists understand how animals and plants adapt to their environments. Today, biologists use evolution to study diseases, create medicines, and protect endangered species. For example, doctors use evolution to understand how viruses change and how to treat them. Medical advances. Evolution explains why some bacteria become resistant to antibiotics. This knowledge helps doctors make better treatments. Without Darwin's ideas, modern medicine would not be the same. Environmental awareness. Understanding evolution helps us see how ecosystems work. This knowledge is important for protecting forests, oceans, and wildlife. It teaches us that all living things are connected and that we must take care of the planet. Education and science. Darwin's ideas became part of school science classes. Students learn about evolution to understand biology and genetics. This helps future scientists and doctors. Challenging old ideas. Darwin showed that the world is full of change and that nothing stays the same forever. This idea encourages people to question old beliefs and think critically about the world. So, Darwin's ideas brought many positive changes, but they also had some negative effects. Negative impacts of Darwin's ideas. Misuse in politics and racism. Some people took Darwin's ideas and used them to support bad actions. One idea called social Darwinism said that only the fittest people should survive. This was used to justify racism, imperialism, and even wars. Some leaders said that certain races or groups were better than others because they thought it was natural. Racism and discrimination. Darwin himself had some racist ideas. He believed that white people were better than black people. This idea hurt efforts to end racism and caused harm to many people. Some schools even taught students that certain races were not as smart or strong as others. Eugenics movement. After Darwin, some people started the eugenics movement. They believed that only healthy and good people should have babies. This led to forced sterilizations and even death camps in the worst cases. Conflict with religion. Many religious people were angry with Darwin because his ideas seemed to go against the idea that God made everything. This caused arguments between science and religion that continue today. Even though Darwin's ideas helped science, they were sometimes used to support bad actions. Ethical questions and debates. Are all humans equal? One big question after Darwin is, if humans evolved from apes, does that mean some people are better than others? Some people use Darwin's ideas to say that certain races or groups were not as valuable. But Darwin never said this. He only described how life changes over time. What about free will? If everything happens because of natural selection, does that mean humans don't have free will? This question is still debated by scientists and philosophers. Should we control evolution? Today, scientists can edit genes using technology like CRISPR. Some people say this is a good way to fight disease. Others worry that we are playing God and changing nature in dangerous ways. Is evolution a threat to religion? Many religious people believe that evolution and faith can coexist. Others think they cannot. This debate continues in schools and politics. These ethical questions show that Darwin's ideas are not just about science. They affect how we live and think. What can we learn from Darwin today? Darwin's ideas teach us several important lessons. Change is natural. Nothing stays the same forever. Life evolves, and so do societies. Question everything. Darwin encouraged people to ask questions and look for answers. Use science wisely. Scientific ideas can help humanity, but they can also be misused if we are not careful. All life is connected. Darwin showed that humans are part of nature, not separate from it. We must remember that Darwin was a product of his time. He had good ideas, but he also made mistakes. Today, we can use his ideas to help science and society, but we must also avoid the bad uses of his theories. If you love this story, hit subscribe for more simple summaries of great historical figures and ideas. Like, share, and comment. Do you think Darwin's ideas were mostly good or bad? Let's discuss below.